Welcome to the Enhancement Talent channel, everyone. I've got a great video for you guys today detailing how WWE can fix Survivor Series. It's something I'm pretty proud of. I think it's one of my better ideas. But first, I do just want to say hello to all the new friends on the channel here. If you're coming over from Simon's channel, Simon Miller, thank you very much for coming over. Have a look around, see what you like, and maybe stick around for a while for more videos like this, more reviews on the AEW and WWE TV shows and pay-per-views, and, have a ball. But I also do want to thank Simon as well. I can't even thank him enough for helping me be able to get more of you over here and being able to share the stuff that I'm trying to do here. And, really can't thank him enough. Can't thank you guys enough either for making the jump over to this channel over here. And I appreciate you guys giving me a chance. I promise I won't let you down. But now, on to the topic at hand. How can WWE fix Survivor Series? It was something that Simon and I talked about actually on his show, which was just posted Friday, I believe, that Survivor Series always feels like a show that we just do once a year when it's November. We throw together some teams and randomly just start caring about brand supremacy or what have you. So, my fix to this is actually quite simple. Instead of treating it as brand supremacy, brand versus brand, we treat it similar to how the NBA treats the All-Star Game. Like the NFL treats the Pro Bowl as a celebratory game to show off the top players, or in this case, wrestlers, in the league, or in this case, in the company. Instead of it being brand versus brand, we have 10 wrestlers from all brands, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, that are selected to participate for each given division, the women's division, the tag team division, and the men's division. You could possibly even hold that to a fan vote, similar to how the sports leagues do it, or, you could gimmick something and say that, veterans vote on it, WWE alumni vote on it, based on who is having the best year. From the start of the year into November, when Survivor Series is, the 10 wrestlers or tag teams that are having the best years get voted into the All-Star Game, essentially, or the All-Star Match, or whatever branding you want to give it. Then from there, we select 2 team captains to represent the 2 teams. For instance, you could have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins as the captain. And the teams, instead of being Raw and SmackDown, you have Team Rollins and you have Team Reigns. Then from there, you have those 2 pick their teams in a draft. And, from there, with those 2 guys, you would have 8 guys in the draft pool that Roman and Seth, in this instance, could choose from. And this is something that I think would be fun, that you could put on the WWE Network exclusively, be able to drive people there, have some fun content, and just make it something different compared to what it normally is. And this idea, it's not like this idea just came directly from me, that I made it all up and it's all my idea. This is pretty much exactly what the NBA started doing with the All-Star Game. Last year, having LeBron James captain one team, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo captain the other, as they were 2 of the best players in the league at the time. Giannis would end up winning the MVP that year. And they aired the draft live on TNT, on Inside the NBA, I believe. And before this, they were doing the draft, but they weren't airing the draft. Something about people possibly getting their feelings hurt or something. But this year they decided to hell with all that, and they aired it. And people loved it. And I think this concept would be a welcome change to a tired concept of brand versus brand and give Survivor Series all around a completely new life. The only thing left, though, the other big thing about Survivor Series that we complain about is there's no stakes. There's no reward. There's no reason to invest because once the match is over, the teams that win don't get anything out of it. So, what if we did similar to what the MLB does in its All-Star game? In fact, I forget if they still do this because most people hate it. I think they might have stopped doing this. But the concept was that the winning league, the AL and the NL, gets home field advantage in the World Series should it go to a Game 7. So my idea, instead of that, would be that the sole survivor, or survivors, from each team, or from the winning team, rather, would get the latest entrance in the Royal Rumble. For instance, if Seth Rollins and Ricochet are the sole survivors for their team, one would get number 30, one would get number 29. And that way we add some benefits to it. Not only does each guy on every team have a reason to care about winning for the team, they have a reason to care about being the last man standing. And if you really want to, you could just boil it down to one participant. If, say, in the same scenario, Rollins and Ricochet, they're the sole survivors. You could have them go in a one-on-one match, and then the winner would get the number 30. Or if it was 3, you could do a triple threat. Or if it's 4, you could do a fatal 4-way. You get my drift. If you want to do that, you can. You could add that provision so that you don't have to give away more than one entrant in the Royal Rumble, which would be fine. That's totally understandable if you want to do that. It might drag out the concept a little more, but you can do that if you want. Another good benefit from having this concept, other than giving life to an otherwise dead whole gimmick, is now NXT can be a part of it without having to be a part of it as a brand per se, which I think is one thing that it's been a fun addition to this Survivor Series, but 3 different teams in a Survivor Series match is just gonna get old. It's too much. So now all the NXT guys, they can take part of it based on whoever has the best year in each division, and you make an all-star matchup for each division with no allegiances to brand or any of that nonsense, and instead, it's just about the best facing the best in a celebration of the all-stars of that year in the WWE. You can have 3 of these matches, one for the men, one for the women, one for the tag teams, and then set up the rest of the show with other matches so that the whole pay-per-view doesn't seem like a gimmick. You can still have title matches, you can still have storyline matches. It's just that these 10 guys for each division are tied up that night. That you can do more stuff than that. It doesn't become beholden to it, and you can still keep the storylines that you have planned. Instead of putting them on hold like they normally do for Survivor Series, you can have those storylines continue. And you can have matches that aren't Survivor Series matches while still having the crux of the show being built around those 3 matches. And if WWE is dead set on keeping this thing brand versus brand or brand versus brand versus brand, however, the idea can still work. And I think you can still give it a fresh concept without changing that. If they're really beholden to this brand versus brand thing, you do the same thing just without the captains and the draft part. And then the winning brand could get the main event of WrestleMania. Similar to what MLB does with their All-Star Game, as I mentioned earlier, leading to the World Series. So you can still have it based on it being an All-Star Game, but instead just have 5 guys that are the top for that year in their brand versus the 5 top guys for that year in their brand, and possibly versus the other 5 guys in NXT. However it is, if they're totally beholden to the brand versus brand stuff, I would still like that as a fresh new change. However, I think the original idea is much better. Now, otherwise, WWE, if you do decide to use this, I do want my share. I'll accept check, PayPal, Cash App, carrier pigeon, whatever works best for you guys. But all jokes aside, though, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below and tell me what you think of my idea, and what would you do to fix Survivor Series? How would you do it differently? What do you like? What do you don't like? What needs to change? I want to hear from you guys, and I appreciate you watching this long, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.